Your Python installs are slower than they need to be, not a little slower, up to 100 times slower. That number is real, and it comes straight from the tool's own benchmarks. But there's a catch in it that almost every video skips, and it's the honest part that actually matters. The tool is called UV. It's one binary, written in Rust, and it does the job of pip in a fraction of the time. Here's the number the makers actually publish. Against pip, on a cold cache, a real first install, UV is 8 to 10 times faster, not 100, 8 to 10. The 100 times figure is a different case, a warm cache, where UV rebuilds an environment from packages it already downloaded. There, it hits 80 to 115 times faster. So, both numbers are true. They just describe different moments. The honest headline is, first install, roughly 10 times faster. Rebuild an environment, up to 100. Watch what that looks like in practice. Creating a virtual environment. Python's built-in venv takes about a second. UV does it in 8 milliseconds. That's not an optimization. That's a different category of fast. Installing a real project, 23 packages, cold. Pip takes almost 9 seconds. UV takes just over 1. Rebuild that same environment warm, and pip still grinds for 6 seconds while UV finishes in a tenth of 1. Now, why is it this fast? 2 reasons. 1, it's written in Rust, not Python, so the resolver isn't fighting the very language it's installing. 2, it uses a global cache with hard links, so a package you've downloaded once is never downloaded or even copied again. It's just linked into place, and UV isn't only a faster pip, it quietly replaces a whole shelf of tools. Pip for installing, pip tools for locking, virtual env for environments, pyenv for managing Python versions themselves, pipx for running command line tools, even poetry for whole project workflows. One static binary instead of 6 things you used to install separately and keep in sync. It manages Python for you too. You don't need Python already on the machine. UV Python install grabs the interpreter version you asked for automatically, and UVX runs any tool in a throwaway environment without polluting your system at all. Under the hood, the resolver is serious engineering. It uses an algorithm called pubgrub, and it produces one universal lockfile, uv.lock, that pins your dependencies across every operating system and Python version at once. One lockfile, every platform. No more works on my machine. That's why it spread the way it did. 87,000 stars on GitHub. Over 160 million downloads a month as of mid-2026. Companies like Ramp and Intercom run on it. For a tool that's barely 2 years old, that's not adoption, that's a takeover. Now here's the part the fans don't put in the thumbnail. In March 2026, OpenAI acquired Astral, the company behind UV, and that should make you pause, because a single, venture-backed company now owns one of the most critical pieces of Python's infrastructure. The developer Simon Willison, who tracks this closely, laid out the worst case plainly. OpenAI could use its ownership of UV as leverage in its fight with rivals like Anthropic. The one thing keeping that in check, UV is open source under a permissive license. As one engineer put it, even in the worst possible future, this is a very forkable thing. The community can pick it up and walk away, but it's a risk you should hold in your head, not pretend away. There's also a real limit to what UV does. It manages Python packages. It does not manage the non-Python world. If your project leans on heavy scientific libraries with C or Fortran extensions, or CUDA binaries for a GPU, that's still Conda's territory, and UV won't replace it. And the monetization question is open. Astral's paid product is a hosted package registry called pipx. The tools stay free, they promise. The services around them are where the money is. So, should you switch? For almost every everyday Python project, yes, and it's not close. Replace Python venv and pip install with a single UV sync, and your setup goes from seconds of waiting to almost none every single time, all day. Just go in with your eyes open. You're betting on a fast-moving tool now owned by a giant that happens to be open source enough to escape if it ever goes wrong. So, quick recap, UV is one Rust binary that's about 10 times faster than pipcold, up to 100 times warm. It replaces pip, poetry, pyenv, pipx, and more. It gives you one universal lockfile across every platform. And it's now owned by OpenAI, but open source enough to fork. If this saved you from another slow pip install, you already know what to do. Are you switching to UV or sticking with pip? Tell me why in the comments, and subscribe. I go this deep on one dev tool every single day.